days of our April 8th breakdown and prediction. Okay? If you thought this week was dramatic, honey, you have no idea what's about to go down in Salem on Wednesday. I'm talking manipulation. I'm talking fingerprints. I'm talking about a revenge plot that's been years in the making, if I'm reading the tea correctly. Let's dive in. 1. The Tate trap. When revenge gets a PhD in manipulation. Alright, let's talk about Tate Black. And listen, I have feelings about this kid. Because here's what we're seeing. Tate is officially moving beyond your typical teenage angst and into full-blown, calculated villainy. And you know what? I'm actually kind of here for it. Because it's smart. So here's the thing. Tate has set an absolute bear trap for Sophia Choi. And the setup is diabolical in the most soap opera possible way. He's not just throwing accusations at her. No, he's manufacturing evidence. He's literally contaminating bottles, multiple bottles, with something that's going to look like Sophia tampered with them. And then he's going to use her fingerprints as the smoking gun. But let me break down why this matters beyond just the surface level. To Stephanie's crisis, when trauma doesn't just fade, and why Alex's patience might not be enough. Okay, so let's pivot, because we've got a completely different kind of crisis happening with Stephanie Kyriakis. And honestly, this one hits different because it's real. Stephanie's just gone through a kidnapping. Owen Kent held her captive. Again. By the way, which is absolutely insane. And now she's sitting with Marlena Evans trying to process what comes next. And here's where I need to be brutally honest with you. Stephanie's trauma isn't going to just resolve itself with a few sessions on Marlena's couch. The spoilers tell us that Stephanie's worried about intimate issues with Alex, and on the surface, that sounds like relationship drama, right? Like, oh, she can't be intimate because she's traumatized. Very after-school special. But let's dig deeper. 3. The Holly Airy redemption arc pills. Apologies. And the question of whether sorry ever means anything. Alright, we've got another situation that's been brewing for a minute, and it involves Holly Jonas, Ariana Horton, and a whole lot of apologizing. That might be too little. Too late. So here's the recap. For anyone who's been living under a rock, Holly's been acting absolutely unhinged. We're talking unprovoked anger, flying off the handle at random moments, saying things that are genuinely hurtful to people she supposedly cares about. And the spoilers are telling us that Holly's been taking pills that Sophia, and you can't make this up, arranged for her to take. This is a classic Days move. By the way, drugging someone to make them act out, so you can use them as a pawn in your own game. That's soap opera 101. That's the dictionary definition of villain behavior. But here's where I'm going to diverge from the obvious read. Is Holly fully off the hook because Sophia drugged her? Or does Holly still bear some responsibility for her actions? Because yes, the pills made her do it. But, and this is important, Holly clearly took the pills willingly at some point. She made the choice to consume what Sophia gave her. Nobody forced the pills down her throat on day one. Holly made an active choice. Probably because she wanted to feel something different. Or better. Or whatever. And that's the part that's going to make this redemption arc complicated. When Holly apologizes to Ari on Wednesday, she's going to feel genuine remorse. She's going to mean it. But Ari, smart kid that she is, might rightfully point out that sorry doesn't undo the damage. The hurtful things Holly said. Still said. The way she treated Ari still happened. You can't just medicate your way out of accountability. Here's what I think is going to happen. Holly's apology is going to feel like a band-aid on a much larger wound. And that wound is the fact that Sophia is still out there, still manipulating people, and still pulling strings. As long as Sophia's in Salem, Holly is never fully going to be able to move on from this. Because Sophia's entire MO is creating chaos and then using that chaos to her advantage. I'm actually more interested in what happens next with these two than I am in the immediate apology scene. Because this is going to set up a larger reckoning between Holly, Ari, and Sophia that could last months. Cztery bradivs. Kristen, Rachel as the pawn. And why this family never learns. And then we've got Brady and Kristen still fighting about Rachel. Still, after all these years, after all these heated arguments, all these custody battles, all these dramatic moments in courtrooms and in people's living rooms, Rachel's stuck in Bayview, a psychiatric facility, and Brady and Kristen are still using her as the centerpiece of their ongoing war. And honestly, this is the part of Days that honestly makes me sad. Not entertained. Because here's the thing about this storyline. It's been done. We've cycled through this exact scenario multiple times over the past several years. Kristen's been a villain. Brady's been righteous. Rachel's been a pawn. And nothing ever actually changes. They fight. There's a moment of understanding. And then something resets the timer and they're back to square one. What Rachel needs is for both of her parents to step back and ask themselves, what is best for my daughter? Not, how do I win this fight? Not, how do I prove I'm the better parent? But literally, what does Rachel need to heal? And I'm going to bet that what Rachel needs is family stability that doesn't involve her parents screaming at each other every other episode. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because honestly, it's cyclical and exhausting in the way that long-running soap operas sometimes become. But I am going to say this. If Brady and Kristen don't have an actual breakthrough on this issue soon, the writers are going to lose the audience's investment. We've been here too many times. The trap is becoming predictable. Unless, and this is my theory, unless Rachel does something major from inside Bayview that forces both of them to actually confront the reality of what their fighting has created. Now,